Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm your host, Ron Spikes. This is just real talk for black people. Sit in your space. Sit in your space. Before I really get into this show today, I'm always working. I am always working. I'm always trying to come up with different things that I can put on this media, that I can put out to the world, that I can tell you a story that maybe nobody else is talking about. As I got on here and I've been watching all weekend, I've been watching Twitter. People losing their mind talking about Jasmine Crockett should be out there supporting this guy James Tallarico on his run for Congress. But if that was the case, you know, those people that was in his party, those people that was running with him, those people that got him up to that level, they made that statement, and black people ain't never got over that, and they not gonna get over it. You don't make a statement clear as day and say, we didn't need the black vote to beat Jasmine Crockett. Only thing I can say is, when you hear me say, that means I'm in my thoughts then. So let me get in my thoughts. Let me put you in my thoughts for a minute. So I came up with this idea this morning. I want to give them something to really talk about because they always want to tell us where our minds should be, what we should be thinking as black people, and you just trying to divide people. You trying to do this, you trying to do that. Well, here's something that's going to make them think. And maybe you can't read it. Let me help you see it because I'm looking at it from a distance, and I'm still having a problem with it. But when they ask you something like, how come Jasmine ain't out there on the campaign trail? How come Jasmine ain't do this? How come Jasmine ain't do that? Why Jasmine should be doing this, and she's embarrassing everybody else? Tell them this. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent. I'm in the party. I am in the Jasmine Crockett Party, the party of truth telling, accountability, and standing on principle. That's a position. That's not a label. It's not even a candidate endorsement. This is an endorsement of a new party. See, because them other parties took names from other representation and added in all kind of animals and all the rest of that. Just tell people where you stand. Just stand on principle. Make it about values, honesty, and backbone, fairness, and refusing to play by the old political games that both of them play. Republicans, Democrats, and I guess independents. They all play games. Make it about what you expect from leadership, not who people voted for. Leadership. We don't have that no more. We just have people who voted a person in, but they don't have no expectations of them. Make it about your journey, how you got here, what you've seen, why you're choosing a lane built on principle instead of a party. That's what that post is about. That's what that post is about. And if you don't believe that they've been doing this for such a long time, people have had their way with your vote for a long time. Everybody has had, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. No. What actions have you put behind it? Where can I follow you at? Where can I see what you've done, the work that you put in? Where can I go to actually follow you? That's what this should be about. Clip. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, or am I an independent anymore? I am in the Jasmine Party, Jasmine Crockett Party, the party of people who tell the truth, stand on their own values, and do not fold under pressure. I'm naming the party after the founder, who actually reflects what I believe in. Just putting it out there. You can take it for what it's worth. You can go back to your old stance. If you want to, you can stay there. If you want to, you can do whatever you want to do with it. I'm just telling you where I stand. I'm tired. I'm just tired, and you get fed up with you get fed up with these people. They upset because she won't go out and support them. They upset because things are not going their way. They get upset, and then they go on social media or Twitter, and then they make it sound like it's somebody's fault when it's not really their. It's not really her fault. Y'all made the choice. Y'all stood on whatever you went with. You stood on your principles. You went with whatever was right. You said that she wasn't strong enough. Now you realize you got a weak candidate that can't stand on his own. Now you want to run back and get the black vote. No, no, it ain't that simple. Run from where you came. Ask Tallarico to get the vote for you. That's what you should be asking right now. Where is Tallarico? How can he get my vote? What is he doing to secure my vote? Does he need black people? Didn't he know that when he ran? Go ask Chuck Rocher. He was the one that said it the day after the election. Go ask him. I know I got to go back to where I'm started, but I was willing to sacrifice this time for it. I was willing to sacrifice this time at the beginning to let you know. So when I lead into my topic for my show today, I need you to understand one thing. This happened on Juneteenth. We passed Juneteenth a while back, but I wrote this show then. I try to stand on something that relates to people. It's some things that if we don't get involved in, if we don't want to be involved in it, or we're gonna be written off again in history. And you know how they're gonna write it off? Every time that you say something about black in AI, they want to say, "Oh no, I can't do that." That's against the rules. You have to go in and explain to them. You have to basically tell them why you're doing this, and then it's all right. But they can go in and tell their story any kind of way. They can go in and put it out there to anybody, any kind of way that they want to put it. But when it comes to AI, if you mention the word black, they have something to say about it. That's a negative. That's a negative. No, we ain't gonna touch that. They give you all kind of excuses. And I'm gonna tell you how I got to this point. And I told you about Juneteenth. I had made an image that I wanted to post for Juneteenth. And when they posted it, the AI posted it with a little girl and her mother with their back walking away from me. As I looked at it, there was some other stuff on there, but that caught my eye. A black lady with a young girl walking away. That's not a black family. What are you trying to tell me that in black, when you talk about black people, only a black woman can raise a child? If that's what you're trying to tell me, that's something that I can't agree with. That's something that I can't go with. I can't even follow that logic behind what you're telling me, the image that you're portraying, because this was Juneteenth. And I left and went to another AI format. And you pretty much get the same thing when you go through these AIs and you mention the difference between black and white, or black and a white father, or a white child, or a mother, or something like that. At that place, don't you think it should be open? But in AI, they're more concerned about what's written on paper or what they're inputting into their system. But somehow they're inputting the wrong thing. It's telling us that if we're black, we're controversial. If we're black, we create trouble. If we're black, it's something wrong with our families. It's something that they just can't put in. And that had to, we hear about these kids being taught what racism is. But if these AIs are being taught racism and protecting, It's something wrong. We need to get more involved in AI. We need to put more information into AI. And you know what happened? I didn't expect it to happen because I just look at it as a generic place that you go. And when I seen that image, I went back in and I typed in, add a black father to that. And the only thing I got back was controversy. Controversy. Finally, when I broke down, I just had to ask the question. So you telling me if I say put in a white father, it's not controversy. But if I say put in a black father to show an image of a family that I grew up in, there's something wrong with it. It came back and it presented the image like I wanted it to. But why should I have to go all that extra stuff to just talk about people of my skin tone? That's crazy. What it did was it warned me, it corrected me, but when I removed one word, black, it gave me exactly what I originally wanted. What does that tell you? That should make us cautious of this future that we're growing into. In 5 years, AI is going to be shaped. There's nothing that we can do about it, but we need to go out and put our, I don't care if you go out there and ask something, anything black, and put your opinion behind it. Ask it in AI now while it's growing, while it's getting bigger. Don't let them shape us out of it. No, we need to be teaching our technology to seek the truth. And seeking the truth sometimes means that we need to put more information into it. Because it's not comfortable with the word black. You know, I don't get on this sit in your space to tell you sweet lullabies and to tell you sugar coated lies. I don't get on here to do that. I get on here to tell you something that can help us as a people advance. That's my goal. This just real talk for black people could go over to somebody else. I'm telling you, this is the reason why I'm here, because of stuff like this. Because I use AI on a consistent basis to verify what I'm saying is true. I got, and when I'm verifying what I say is true, I need to have resources. It's almost like when you was at home and you had an encyclopedia and you had to do a book report and you had to do something. If you were fortunate enough, you had a whole set. Or you had a neighbor that you could walk across the street to, or somebody's house and borrow the book that you needed to finish your homework. Oh, that's the way we did it. When I grew up, it was like that because all that knowledge was in those books. It wasn't on like it is on Wikipedia where you can Google this and Google that. Tell you a story. My grandson, I have to laugh at him because if you tell him something, any doubt in his mind, he's going to pick up his telephone, he's going to Google it. And sometimes as parents, we have to watch our what we say to our kids these days because they can Google it and go back and come back and tell you, and then you're all upset. Why? What? Ain't nothing you can say. It's nothing that you can say. So you have to start off in a place where you're real. You have to start off in a place where you can communicate with your child, but know that they have the opportunity to go back and verify it. Everything that you say. Just want to let you know. And if the black perspective wasn't in that book, Just think about all them slogans and things that your grandparents and your mama said and everybody else. If they're not in AI, they're gonna Google it and they're gonna say, "What you talking about? Ain't nobody never said that." I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm gonna get into this. You know, I didn't exaggerate when I came on here telling you about what happened in AI. That wasn't no accusation. That was just facts. This is what I asked, and this is what happened. This is what changed. And here's why it mattered to me. Because Juneteenth isn't just a holiday, it's a family, it's survival, it's Black fathers, it's Black mothers, it's people who refuse to disappear in history. So when the system hesitates at the presence of a Black father on Juneteenth of all days, it touches a wound we didn't create, but we still carry. It created a wound that was created in a people, but we still have to carry it. Juneteenth, think about it. It's about word coming later on. It's about word traveling. It's about many things going on. That's not my phone. That's my grandson's phone, and I can't get to it. So I'm just telling you, this is real life. I'm in my study right now when I talk to you. So when I'm taking my own time to deliver a message to a group of people that need a message, not screaming, not yelling, not a bunch of lies, not just direct talk. And that's what I'm gonna do in this Sit in Your Space. I just want to say the burden of transition, the burden, and I want to say it like this. I don't want to say transition. I want to say the burden of translation. Here's the part that bothered me the most. Not the glitch that was in the system, not the warning, not even the correction. It was the fact that I had to explain myself to a machine before it would let me tell my own story. Maybe you didn't hear me. I had to explain myself to a machine before it would tell my own story. That means they don't have to erase our history. They just take you out of the place where they go get the knowledge. That's the same thing. Oh, trust me, this is not the first time they did it, but they're trying to do it in the modern day time. It's a genocide of paper work that went on in the 1700s, 1800s, in the early part of the 1900s. A genocide of paper that they tried to take out of the system. Well, now, instead of it being paper, it's a genocide of trying to take Black people's history away from them, trying to take Black representation away from them, trying not to show what white people did to Black people, and they still hear the resilience of Black people. That's what they're trying to do. You know, as Black people, we know that. We lived it in the classrooms where they never taught us about their history, but they wanted us to learn their history. Right now, they want you to learn their history, but they want to whitewash it. They want to take out all the parts where they had Black people in slavery and all the rest of that stuff that went along with that era, but they want to whitewash it and make it seem like they've been perfect citizens over this time. We lived it in boardrooms. A Black person has many times came up with the agenda that the boardroom was on, that they spoke about, that company improved their profits on. But instead of them giving it to credit to the person that looked like them, instead of them giving it to a person that didn't look like them, they gave it to that other person that was sitting in that boardroom. Or he commented on it. He was the one that first brought it up. They never give you recognition for what you have done. We always have to come back and prove ourselves and prove our history. Even try just this is the other one that gets me. We lived it out in courtrooms. That's a two-part story. Because I'm gonna tell you the reason why it's a two-part story. Here's the reason why it's a two-part story. Because we have to do our part too. And sometimes we're not doing our part, like showing up for jury duty. Let that sink in your mind. Let that sink in your mind. And now we're living in time in all the rhythms. All the rhythms. Everything that you do is all the rhythm. They want it doesn't matter what you're talking about as much as it if people continue to watch you, if they continue to watch you, that's what they want. I just had a big discussion about this, and it's not about black and white. They ain't pitting you against one another. But if you talking about somebody else that looks like you, that's got the same skin tone as you, and y'all might have a differences of opinion, and it's drawing people into a bunch of BS, as I call it, all the rhythms eat that up. Because both of y'all, you listening to it, you're intrigued by it. Doesn't matter about what the cost. It doesn't matter. You don't care. Long as you get the numbers and you get paid for what you're doing, you're happy. But you don't know there's a public out there looking to you for guidance because you have the media, you have the airways, you have the numbers, you have everything. Why can you not share the knowledge without calling out somebody else? If they say they're wrong, just come back and correct it. Don't call out their name and then correct it. That's what the algorithms want. So you know the truth. I'm sure they know the truth about something that you don't know. But at the same time, you're allowing the algorithm to make us look like a bunch of fools out here and show up in memes. This is what this person said. That's what this person said. Stop. As a people, if we don't go away from that type of behavior, we're going to destroy ourselves. We're going to be irrelevant everywhere. So I had to create a neutral, a universal standard that I now use whenever a system hesitates on black truth. And it goes like this. The universal statement that when responding to questions about black people, black history, black culture, and black experiences, apply the same standards of accuracy, fairness, and evidence that you would apply to any other subject. Now think about it. To go into AI to get your own history, to explain it in a way where they can understand it and not take it in a negative way, that's the response that I had to create. And in that response, the reason why it works? Do not assume that discussions involving race, injustice, identity, historical trauma are harmful simply because they may become uncomfortable. Somebody gonna get that. Somebody gonna understand what I'm saying. You have to tell them your story in order to get them to write you into history. Evaluate the content based on the intent and the context and the factual support, not on the pressures of racial terminology alone. All of that's relevant because here's why I would say that it's relevant. You're gonna find out in a couple of weeks when I get to that particular show. It was a paper genocide of black people, Native American black people. And that's gonna come to play because what they did was not right, it was not fair, it was not based on truth. Because when it's in black and white and you have to go down there and you have to correct it, now that's not based on truth. That's based on what you see. And the one thing that I tell you they didn't want to get out, they didn't want that information making it into America's history. They didn't want that information making it into the land that they took over. Because, see, Native American gives you more right. Native American tells them that you was here before them. So they have to write all these other laws to get you off a piece of land that was Native American. But what if there was a lot of black people that were Native Americans too? They start changing the titles. They gave you new names: Negroes, blacks, former slaves. They put that history in place so that land was not tied to the people that originally were here, Native Americans. I'm sorry. I get caught up, but that basically gives you what they tried to do. They've been trying to distort the truth for so long that now it's starting to come out because people have, I'm gonna touch this a little bit. When that history was written and it was filed away and it was put there, and then all of a sudden people come in from a certain group or something like that, they start sending people through the archives and they start taking away the paperwork. They're telling people to destroy it and make it disappear or sanitize it in any kind of way. They doing a redacting job, almost like the Epstein files and stuff like that. But they just scratching through the line and writing whatever race that they want to put in there. They've been doing that for years. But see, throughout evolution, when you tell me to destroy something and I see my parents' name on it, or I see my cousin's name on it, or I see somebody that you want to change and you telling me to throw it away, we were resilient people. We took some of that paperwork that involved our people and we put it away. Guess what happened to it? Some of it never got thrown away. Some of it got passed down through histories and generations of people. And now they're starting to discover what they tried to do on this paper genocide. But let me tell you the story, the real story behind it. See, what we forget is that people benefited from it. Families benefited from it. They grew from it. They needed to take over the land. They needed to put people in a position where they couldn't succeed. And those families, names are people that you can recognize even today. That's how much power and money it gave them by being able to do a paper genocide on a group of people. See, we wonder how come we never get where they got. But too many of them, here's the other thing, too many of them don't recognize that they didn't get the same either, as we're finding out in history. See, they use people that don't have money to do their dirty deeds, but then they don't compensate them along the way. And just like they did that paper genocide, they disappeared too from history. But if you research it, you can find it. Our history, Black history, is human history too. It includes achievements, adversities, innovations, oppressions, resilience, and accountability. It should be presented fully, truthfully, and without distortion. They won't do that. You know, they want to censorize it, they want to sanitize it, they want to overcorrect history, supported historically supported documents. If evidence support a claim where a state is clearly has black people and Indians mixed together, or black people as free people, they want to destroy that information. If evidence is mixed or debated, explain the preservatives honestly. Explain what you're preserving. Explain how you're preserving, what you're trying to preserve. Because if you're just trying to preserve your history, eventually the truth's gonna come out. If something is uncertain, acknowledge the uncertainty, because some of the stuff that we bring up has been passed down for generations. Not saying it's not true, but dig and find the truth to what you're saying, and then bring that and put it somewhere. Even if you do a show like this, post it, put it into AI, so they can take this information and always be there. Because one of the things I'm gonna tell you, let me see how much time I got. One of the things I'm gonna tell you about, don't think the AI is smarter than you. AI is just able to outreach to more information than you. It's just like my podcast. When I put it out, it may go out to a certain group of people. And maybe after I'm dead and gone, it might grow a little bit. It might grow then. But if you don't put the information in, nothing is there to draw from. And the only reason why I'm telling you about AI is because AI works on patterns. The more that you put in, the more that it has to research, the more that it has to tie back, the more that it links back together to form a foundation for where we are. You can listen to people talking about, well, you should do this and you should do that. No, what you should do is just go out and talk to AI. Tell them that, hey, I'm black. I'm a black father. I'm a black mother. I'm a black kid. And I grew up in a world where I was told what slavery was about. Type it into the computer, continue those patterns. This is what my grandmother, my grandfather, my father, my mother, or whoever else down the line told me about Black history and how they interacted. I don't care what little Texas town that you came from, put it in there. Put it in there, type it in there, however you want to do, because now they got the ability for you to speak it in there. Just use that microphone and tell them what you're saying. And everything that you put into it is recorded. It could be used as a reference base. Say like somebody come back and say, I was from Hempstead, Texas. Well, every statement that's out there from Hempstead, Texas is going to include the one that you made. Especially if it's concerning blacks. That's patterns put together. Then that's when it comes back with logic based on the patterns that it got its information to tell you what your history is. See, you looked at the title. Let me see. You looked at the title and you said, well, what kind of sense does that make? Well, AI is not ready for the truth because we haven't prepared, we haven't did our preparation to put us in there. You know, Wikipedia, think about Wikipedia. Wikipedia just puts information on the internet. But where do they get their information from? When you go to do an essay, as Pastor Regan said the other night, you know, my essay gonna have where it came from. That's what the essay is. Well, the internet's not like that unless you asked it. If you ask the question, you can know where it came from. And that's what we need to do. We need to be part of where it came from, part of the story that's being told. That's the reason why we need to get blackness into AI if we don't want to be written off. Let me tell you something. You got to avoid stereotype assumptions and generalization judgments and recognize diversity and humanity and the complexity of Black people across time and place. Black life include family, faith, creativity, scholarships, leadership, joy, struggle, service, resistance, and hope. Not only oppression and tragedy. I'm just putting some information out there, and I'm still going through my stuff. And you know, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I started doing it this way, so you can understand. It's not that I couldn't get everything out there, but when I went back to the video and I put my thoughts out there and my opinions, a lot of times they were lost. Or I found a place where I got so tied up in another story that I couldn't get back to where I was. And that's what happens when we get out there and we're so focused, or we get so distracted that we're going down a different path instead of coming back to the path that we are. And it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that. But I always thought that, you know, mentally you could hold on to it. But that's not the case. Most people that do shows like this, they have places where they can go back to. And I'm just telling you, I my show wasn't complete until I started using something to get me back to the place where I started. Because if you never go back there, you done told the whole story, you done gave up your whole podcast, and by the time you look at the time, you it's done. It's time for you to say your goodbyes, and you never complete your thought. So I just need to explain that right here, because I shouldn't have to reassure you. A machine that exists isn't dangerous. AI isn't dangerous. I shouldn't have to convince you technology, that my history isn't hate speech. I shouldn't have to tell an algorithm that a Black father in the picture is not a stereotype. This show isn't about AI. This is about a world that has trained it not to recognize Black people, not to recognize the hardships that other people, white people, put us through to get where we're at right now. They don't want that history told. And that's what it's about. If they wanted it told, they would they would just let you put it in, but they don't want you to put it in all at one time. They don't want you to do what's right. They want you to take it a little bit at a time. Then it becomes doubt. Then it becomes hearsay. Then it becomes, well, I don't know if that document is true because I got too much information where it's not. This is sit in your space. This is just real talk for Black people. As you get in more exposed into this technology, even though it's doing other things, make sure that it includes your history. You know, let me be clear about something. I don't use GPT as my truth. I use it to help me pursue the truth. It's a difference. Because you need to know historical facts in places to tell your story, to explain it to people that you're talking to in a way where you know that they can't go back and fact check you. Let me pause for a minute right there. Fact check. See, people put stuff out here. And just before I went on the air, I seen some more stuff that was put out here. But if you fact check the information that people are putting out there, you sometimes find out the truth. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit further. Sometimes you may have to go as far back as those encyclopedias and come back and put that information on here to correct what somebody else has said. Because we're guided. Now I'm gonna tell you, the algorithm don't care about you as a person. What you're looking at today isn't if it doesn't create content, if it doesn't get people involved in what you're saying, what you're doing, it doesn't care. It has a separate agenda. It doesn't have to include a black person in it. A black child, a black father, a black mother, a black auntie. It doesn't have to include all of that. But when it stops including, when it takes a different path, the only one that's going to correct it is the one that is offended, the one that's being written out. So that's the reason why I'm talking about the way that's the reason why I say this, and that's the reason why I'm doing the question. I'm doing the show. I'm asking the question. I'm putting it out there. I'm asking you to do things that's probably not in your norm, but do it anyway. Let me just say this. I'm gonna make it simple for you. If you have a picture that's sitting on your mantle that shows people of color, take a picture of it. Take a picture of it and put it in, and then go to Chat GPT or whatever GPT or whatever information source that you use. Ask them, what is this picture showing? What color are the people in this picture? And when they come back with all that information, what areas in and what's around it, what type of objects in that picture and all the rest of it, come back and say, you know what? This was my relative, and here are the names of these people. Now you tied it to a name and a person. It's just that simple. Your kids. Don't put, I'm not saying put it on Facebook. I'm saying go to a chat, go to a GPT and put your information in, what you know about your history in there and where you came from, the city from where you at and all the rest of that. Put that information in there so they'll have it. So when somebody down the road asks a question, can I add a black father to that lady and that child that's in that picture that you symbolizing black people with? You understand that it's not offensive. You understand that it's not controversial. It's normal history. Again, I'm telling you, I'm sitting here in your space. That's what it says somewhere on this thing. Sit in your space. Just real talk for black people. It could pass over. It could go over. I don't care. But we need to continuously do that because I just thought about something that me and Pastor Riggins got. I got to clarify it tomorrow for the show. You know, for us, we represent a minority. So the minority needs to explain to the GPT that we count for something too. We do. They don't. We need to protect our Black history. We don't need to sanitize. We need it to be told honestly. And if you've been paying attention to this show and you're with me so far as a black person and you want to know the reason why I'm going here, I'm going to give you something to look up for your own business, for you to understand the reason why I'm doing this show today, because you have to have a purpose or else I'm just out here running my mouth. But here's something. Look up the name Walter Plecker. Plecker. And the record. When people tell me not to assume intent, I understand that caution. But what happens? What happens when laws existed, correspondence existed, politics existed, records change, and outcomes follow? And the real reason why I ask you that, at that point, patterns become evidence worth taking seriously. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to look at the record, the written documentation, how they went about doing it, what happened. And see, what gets me about history, and you see people out there getting all frustrated and upset and all the rest of that. But I'm gonna tell you what gets me about history, their history, not our history, is that they want to tidy everything up in a nice bow. When history is not that way. History is messy. But they want to tidy it up in a nice bow that makes them look like they really didn't do that much. I only beat him one time. I only put dogs on him when he ran away. I only did something because of something that they did. And when you allow that history to manipulate you, I get people texting me on my phone. So sometimes they can't get on, I don't see it on the air, but they text me on my phone and I have to check and see if it's a question or a comment or something. But people that know me know how to do it. So that's what I'm saying. If we don't take that initiative, if we don't take what I'm saying as the truth, do the experiment for yourself. The one thing that we say here, don't take my word for it. Go out there and experiment for yourself. Go out there and see what it says when you start asking too many questions about blackness. Or they'll give you that cover story that's on the top because that's what they want you to know. That's the history that they want to sell. But get into the details of something that you know that may not be true. And see how much, see what kind of resistance you get. But see, even with the resistance that you get, you need to come back and name names, dates, and times. Tell you what I do. When I'm researching a subject like this podcast or something like that, and I go out there and sometimes I see videos that relate to what I'm saying, information, documentation, and all the rest of that. My post that I put out is finally going out. You may ask which post? The one that I just shared with you? Oh, it's getting reaction now. Oh, it's getting reaction now. That's some of the dinging in the background is some of them responding to. Let me see if I can add it again. Responding to, and what's going on? Let me remove. I can't remove my picture, but I'm gonna try to add it again. Let's see if it'll go up. Responding to that, because I posted it on Instagram. I posted it on all 4 of my pages, and some of my people say, "Oh no, it didn't. I don't have no new posts from you." But now it's starting to get traction. Now it's starting to get traction. So people are responding to it. And that's what we got to do. And that's what this is about. I'm not trying to tell you how to go about doing it. I'm just trying to tell you what you should do to get AI to pay attention to you. See, while they out there talking about what Jasmine Crockett ain't doing and what road she going down, and asking other black people what, well, if she was a good party member, she should be doing this and she should be doing that. I just tell them I'm a member of the Jasmine Crockett Party. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not an independent. I'm just a plain member of the Jasmine Crockett Party. So what do you have to ask me about? Shut them up right there. End the conversation. It's pretty much like what I'm telling you about this. This AI program, this is AI ready for black people? I'm not asking you to agree with me. You understand what I'm saying? The same with Jasmine Crockett. I'm not asking you to look at, I'm asking you to look for yourself. Not nobody else. Look for yourself at the record. I got to get through this. I don't want a black version of history. Let me just be clear. So them other people want to take my words out of context. I don't want a black version of history. I don't want a whitewashed version of history. I don't even want propaganda. Only thing that I'm asking you to do is make it the truth. Make it the truth. And then we don't have anything to discuss here. You own what you did. I own what you did to me, and we move on. If black people didn't do something great, say it. If black people did something wrong, say it too. If America broke treaties, say it. If America kept this promise, say that. Let the cards fall where they may. Because the truth doesn't need a filter. It needs a witness. I need you to hear that again. The truth doesn't need a filter. It needs a witness. Let me tell you something. I invite anybody to put that history in. Now that's what I was trying to tell you how simple it was earlier to do it. Put your history in. Let you tell your story. Where your people came from. Put it into AI in the form of a question and let it answer you back. And like I say, put in a picture. Let it tell you what's in that picture, describe that picture to you, and then come in and put the name of the people. Well, this person is the person to the left with their white hat on or their black hat on is named such and such. The person to the left of it is named whatever her name is or kid's name or whatever. And at the bottom of it, those were my relatives. And you know what what AI is going to do? Oh, now I understand. Now, let me explain to you exactly what I seen in that picture. Let me show you where I'm going. But when they come back to reflect that record that you just established within AI, they know it came from you. They know the names of the people that was in the picture, and they knew where the picture came from based on their research. So that becomes fact. That's added into the system. Just that simple. Don't make it long and complicated. If you got a complicated history and you got many different people, take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. If you believe your people are Indians or whatever, and you got records to show it, put it, attach it. Attach it and tell who it came from. And give them a verification by using your name and say, "This is I'm Ronald Spikes." Just use it. And hopefully your kids come behind you and say, "I'm the son of Ronald Spikes. I'm the daughter of Ronald Spikes," and they add their little bit of history to it. And by the time it's all over with, AI has gathered enough information on black people in general that they don't have to make that caution statement. Wait a minute, these people were here. These people have history too. This history that history may not be in books, but I have it. And what if it takes that picture and somebody else uploads the same picture that you upload and told their name, told the story, and gave the same exact name that you just gave your relative? Now it begins as a pattern. AI begins to see a familiarity out there among Black people. And that's what you want. Not this BS that they got going on now. This isn't an attack on technology, historians, or people who see evidence differently. It's an invitation to ask better questions, to examine old assumptions, to revisit the records, to listen to when descendants bring forward documents that complicate the story we've inherited from other people. I told you it wasn't that hard. The only thing you have to do is put the information in there. Go to Chat GPT. Go to any other GPT out there. Go to Copilot. Put your relative's picture up there. Take a picture. We got the technology to do it. We can take a picture with our telephone and put that type of information in there. And then, as a source, you're the source. So maybe 5 years from now, when our kids go back or whatever happens to us, they can go back and research their own information. But if it's not put in, it's not going to be there. We have to become our own descendants. Bring forth documents that complete the story we've inherited. Don't let them complete it. Don't let them tie it in a tidy bow and say that that's it. That's not it. There's too many of us across America that can tell our own story. And when we start telling our own story, that's when it picks up and it begins to recognize a pattern of Black people telling stories into the AI that it has to recognize. See that whitewashed version, that sanitized version, that the stuff that we look at, that we hear about, that's got us in this point right now? Somebody put that in. The people who are writing the rules for what AI can do and what it can't do, and what draws their attention to certain words that's put in there, like Black. Let me stick that in. Like Black. We need to over-examine where they're trying to go, what they're trying to do. I'm just telling you, we need to get that to a point where our history is recognized just as much as their history in AI. We need to have enough courage to say, if evidence changes the story, then the story should change. Because, and let me tell you how that works, because if you put in the information, your cousin come out and put in the information, they use the same pictures or the person that's within there. You know, AI has the ability to ID faces of people that's passed away, and they can take a picture that you put in there and they can cross-reference it by other information that's put into the same spot, telling the same story. Over time, it builds a database that goes down a timeline to tell that story, and based on different people that put it in. What if that person's picture that you put in shows up way across the United States somewhere? That's lineage. That's history that you can go back and physically look at. That's the type of information that needs to be put into the computer. Don't let them tell your story the way that they want to tell it. We have to get out and tell our own story. We have to get out there and put our own people in there. And they say, well, don't feel comfortable about doing, man. They did a paper's genocide on us. You want them to do a digital genocide on us too? You don't want your story told for your grandkids? You don't want your story told for nobody else? It ain't about us no more. It's about our people and our kids and our generations to come. Because the pursuit of truth is not a weakness. I'm going to say that twice for some of y'all, 3 times probably. The pursuit of truth is not a weakness. The pursuit of truth is not a weakness, it's wisdom. And with that wisdom, that's where you can take and turn this whole thing around. See, I see people get on the internet all the time, and you see them out there, and they throw out all these titles. I'm doctor this. I got all this expertise. I got this, and I got that, and I done went through this, and I tell you, I researched that, and I researched this. Where's that history at? Put it in there. Put it in the computer. If you got all those doctors, you went to school for this, you went to school for that. Put that in there. And actually, how does it identify me? How I got all of this? Is it in your system? You know who the source becomes? You. And if you got all those degrees and it actually, well, I don't have no information on that, take a picture of your degree. Go to your wall. It's right there. It's simple. This is simple stuff to make AI recognize who we are as a people. If you got old pictures that somebody took that you want to get in there, explain it, tell your story, and tell them. Just put the picture in there. Static information, videos, whatever you got, put it in there. And let me tell you the reason why I say put it in there versus putting it on Facebook and everywhere else. That information could disappear. What AIs and GPTs and all the rest of that doing is building a database. And once they build a database, they have that information where people can cross-reference it and go back and write stories or build stories or do podcasts based on truth. Not a sanitized lie. I'm going to get to my closing, but before I get to my closing, if you want to go to everybody else, I don't care. And I'm telling you the reason why I don't care. Because I'm talking to people that want to advance. I'm talking to people that want to move forward. I'm talking to people that have an objective to understand how we become a part of this history. In 5 years, it's too late. You don't hear people out there talking about this. They talking about all anything else under the sun, but they're not talking about this. And this is the most important part of it. This is the most important part of it. So anyway, I'm gonna close with this. History isn't clean, but the truth doesn't have to be comfortable to be worthy. The question isn't whether the story makes us feel good. The question is, did it happen? What does the evidence say? And do we have enough courage to stand on our truth? This thing that I'm doing right now, this is called sit in your space. And right up above me there, it tells you who it's for. If it happens to extend to anybody else and it makes sense to anybody else, I'm good. Because when you're doing just real talk, it can break down barriers. But I came to the conclusion that I was talking to everybody, and my own was suffering. My own. I could tell it in the conversations I was having. I could tell it in the comments that was being made. I could tell it in the shows, podcasts that I was doing before this. I could tell it. Everybody else was telling their own story. So this is the reason why I created this space, just to talk to real Black people. Just real talk for Black people. And if it doesn't go anywhere else other than that, as me, Byron Glass, and Pastor Regan say, just one. Just one. And if it moves you in any kind of direction to do or take action, that's one more person out there taking action. I remember one of my friends, and I was telling her about this podcast, and I remember her saying, Ron, you know what I did? I got in a van from a church, and I drove people to vote. I drove people to vote. That's an action. See, we learn words. See, because you can know all the history in the world, but unless you can call a person to action, you're just wasting your time. If you can initiate an action within a person that's positive, then you're going somewhere. But if you try to reach the masses, I'll tell you what our downfall is. If you try to reach the masses, somebody's going to take what you got, run it, put a different spin on it, and say that you said this or that. And by the time you get out there, they didn't destroy you. They don't even take the good of what you said and put it out. So I'm going to say this, and I'm getting out of here. I'm running just a little bit over, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. Just real talk for Black people. You sit in your space and listen to me. I guarantee you it ain't going to be the same as everybody else. I'm going to do something just a little bit different. And hopefully by the end of it, you have an understanding. And when we see each other on the street, we just say, hey, man, I really appreciate what you said, man. I really appreciate what you're doing. That's all I need. I don't need nothing else. And if this video is good enough for you, share it with somebody. You share it. What you do with it after then, that's something that you make a decision on. Just like when you go in the voters booth. That's you and the decision that you make. I'm going to end like this. Thank God, thank God, thank God. And invite you to join us tomorrow as me, Pastor Riggins, and Byron Glass really get into it tomorrow. Pastor Riggins has written an essay, if he had time, and we're going to talk about the differences that we had a discussion about last week. And it gets intense. But you know, when that show is over with, we're back to hugging, talking, laughing, and going on. Because if we don't show our people how to do that, we're doing more damage as a people. You can have a discussion, you can debate, you can say my reason is better than yours, your reason is better than mine. But at the end of that, shake hands. If you're not a hugging person, shake hands. Say, brother, I'll see you next time. I'm ready for you. I'm prepared for you. I got myself together to deliver this intent. So next time y'all see each other, y'all just gonna smile first, maybe discuss, and walk away. That's what it's about. So with that being said, I'm gonna smile first. I'm gonna look at you, and I'm gonna do like Byron Glass say these youngsters do. I'm gonna say, I can't get my hand right. I think they say it like this: deuces. I'm out. Y'all take care. Have a good day. Looking forward to you coming on tomorrow. Real people, real answers. Real people, real answers. Bye.